Hey you beautiful people, how's it going, and welcome to a new video. So in 3.14 I released a build guide for a Facebreaker crit max block Cyclone Gladiator, bit of a mouthful, and yeah, it was very popular. It had over 30,000 views, and a few people have asked me now, is it viable for 3.15? And I could have just said yeah and throw together any POB without really testing the build, but I decided I wanted to test it before I made a final decision. So I've done just that. I've upgraded my SST Bleed Gladiator into the Cyclone one, and it does feel pretty nice to play, to be honest. It doesn't feel as good as it did in 3.14, obviously, because of the gem nerfs, and then also the triple flask nerf with the Lion's Roar, Diamond Flask, and Bottled Faith. All flasks we used. A big DPS loss thanks to that nerf, so cheers for that one, Chris. But yeah, the build is still viable, and it can do pretty much all content. Boss DPS is great compared to SST. You know, when you switch, it feels absolutely nice to be able to actually kill bosses very quickly. I've done the Maven, Cirrus, Uber Elder, and Shaper with Maven on, as well as all the Expedition Logbook bosses, and I can easily clear tier 16 maps and stuff like that. Not as fast as some builds, but still decent. One thing I will say about the build is that it does struggle if the Maven decides to heal the boss, just because, you know, we don't have that 10 million DPS anymore. But my build is not min-maxed, and it can improve. So we'll take a look now at the Shaper, for instance. The Maven on this one kept healing him. That is why the arena is absolutely Bob Rossed. And yeah, it took me a while to kill him, but we did get him in the end, and still only with one death because we do have the 79% block rate as well. So we are quite tanky as long as you just watch out for a few things. And you can see here as well, the damage on the Uber Elder is absolutely fine, just peppering them down very easy, nice and smooth, just like butter. So yeah, I'm going to go over the updates that I've made for the build in the video, because there are quite a few changes, and you know, my build isn't min-maxed yet, and I probably will put a POB for a min-max version in there, but we'll see as we go along and when I post the video. So yeah, that's about it from me, guys. I'll just let you watch the rest of the clips. I just got this Cirrus kill and a Maven coming up, just so you can see, and I will catch you in the video. Okay guys, so I'm just going to start by very quickly talking about my gear. I'm going to cover all of my gear in case you've never seen the build guide before, and just show you basically what you need. So starting with the gloves, we have our Facebreakers with vulnerability and over 750 more fizz. If you are going to buy a pair of Facebreakers and they have below 750 fizz and they have vulnerability, don't get baited into buying them. They are less DPS overall than a max rolled pair. Just pick up a max rolled pair of Facebreakers with no corruption, and then you can just get vulnerability on one of your rings, and the Facebreakers will only cost you about 30c, like that. So a good way to save money, I guess, if you are a little bit on the poorer side at the moment. Then moving on from that, we have our Rislava's Coil, the best in-slot belt for overall damage, and luckily very cheap this league, thanks to the new card, the Offspring, which you can farm on Infested Valley, because that is Rislava's clone in the maps. Yeah, it's currently at 148, 150c for a Rislava's, so very cheap, very easy to get. Yeah, just go for it, man, so good. Moving on, the Surrender, which again is also very cheap for this league, considering. So it's currently at 3.84x-ish, as you can see over here, and these are usually around 7x at this point in the league. Just nobody is playing builds like this anymore, really. They're all playing SST or Necromancer, which is fun. So, moving on from the Surrender, which, you know, obviously gives us the Reckoning, the Recover Life on Block, Armor, all the good stuff. It's just such a good shield. We have our Rigwald's Curse, and Rigwald's Curse is the only amulet you can use, and it is corrupted, but you can anoint it with the Tainted Oils now. And you want to pick one up with 36 crit multi. This will cost you 20c. It cost me about 20c. It's probably even cheaper. Actually, let's just double check that, because I am a little bit curious. Let's take that off. So yeah, 30c now. Okay. Yeah, still very cheap. Biggest change from the 3.14 version is the chest, which I'm now rolling a Farrell's Fur with. So I had a crafted chest with minor mana cost and attacks have percent crit in the previous guide, and I did try that chest as well in this league, but it just didn't feel good. It felt too slow, I felt clunky, so I swapped it out for a Farrell's, and I feel a lot smoother now. So the Farrell's obviously giving us the permanent frenzy and power charges, as well as the aspect of the cat bonuses. It really is a big DPS increase, as well as, you know, we have the crit chance is very, very nice to have as well. So yeah, definitely roll with a Ferals in this league, in my opinion. Unless you can get some sick rolled double elevated chest, I suppose. We aren't immune to stuns while channeling, no. That is one of the problems with the Ferals, as well as we don't have the minus mana cost. So on this current 6 link that I have, my Cyclone costs 7 mana. So getting the double -3 mana cost on my rings puts my Cyclone down to 1 mana. So I don't even need mana leech. I can just sustain mana, just Cyclone in. So that is very, very, very nice. Moving on, I will go for my helmet now. So on my helmet, we have Flesh and Stone has 30% reduced reservation. This is different from 3.14, where I had Cyclone attack speed. And the reason we are going with the Flesh and Stone is because it allows you to completely drop Enlighten from the build if you have this with a minor change to the passive tree, which I will cover on the passive tree section. So yeah, I would definitely pick this up. If you have an Enlighten 4, I do have one now. I didn't have one when I got the helmet. The helmet cost me 80C. You can drop this for the attack speed, depending on whether you're using a higher level precision or not. If you had anomalous precision, you could definitely drop it. But I'm using 21, so I did kind of struggle with mana a little bit. But yeah, Enlighten 4, you could probably drop this and get the attack speed enchant for more DPS as well. So moving on lastly to the rings now and the boot. So rings, just the steel ring with tier 1 fizz. I believe that's tier 1 fizz. Oh, closed it. Oh, nice fat fingers. Oh, disaster. Okay, so yeah, that is tier 1 fizz rolled. Yeah, with the crit multi essences. And then resistances, minus mana cost. Just some good stuff for damage overall in that, as well as the resist is very, very nice to have, because we do struggle a little bit with resist. The other ring, because of that reason, is a resist ring. So we have tier 1 life, a bunch of resistances, and an open prefix for channeling skills have -3 mana again. Very, very important. Make sure you find them with an open prefix. You can search on trade empty prefix, and you'll be able to find those if you didn't know that. Lastly, the boots. Now, this is where you're going to want to put your aspect of the cat skill for aspect of the cat. You don't want to put it on your rings because we need a gem socket so we can put in Restoration. And Restoration on the aspect of the cat only makes it last 4 seconds. So as you can see, because of that, we can permanently sustain the frenzy and the power charges, which is very, very nice, giving us perma damage basically. And then, yeah, just aside from that, onslaught on kill boots with move speed, max life, lightning, res, just anything you need, basically. Obviously, I would upgrade these to tailwind, elusive, onslaught boots if I could, but very, very expensive again, and I need an open suffix, which could be hard to get with those specific modifiers. So, yeah, I'm rolling with these for now, and I could upgrade them. And then, as for my current flasks, Diamond Flask, even though it's nerfed, and a Lion's Roar, because they still add damage, maybe not as much, but still decent damage when they're popped. A Quicksilver, a Life Flask, and a Quartz Flask. Now, I'm going to drop the Quartz Flask once I get a Bottled Faith, and Bottled Faith does add a lot of DPS. I think it adds around 1 million DPS still, so it's definitely worth it, and yeah, I would definitely pick one up, and that would make bossing feel a whole lot smoother. I feel like I could pretty much easily clear the field with a Bottled Faith. And then, yeah, that's just about it for the gear, actually. So, I'm going to move on to the skill tree now, guys. I will catch you in a sec. Okay, guys, so talking about the skill tree, there's not too much to talk about. It's pretty much the exact same as 3.14. There are some changes you can make to play around with the damage that I've tried, but ultimately ended up just not being worth it. So I just stayed the same as it was in 3.14, and it's absolutely fine. The jewels as well, pretty much the same. Unnatural Instinct up here, which gives us the cold res, lightning res, the attack damage, strength, dex, fizz damage, totem duration, everything like that. So it's really good up here. Watcher's Eye, I'm just rolling with a single precision crit multi at the moment, which is about 1x as well, so not too expensive. A double claws, a single crit multi with global accuracy, which was about 10c, adds quite a bit of damage, and you probably will need accuracy, so one jewel like this will probably be needed. On the left side, again, Transcendent Flesh, because the crit multi, 49% is just way, way too good. And this is not expensive either, this league. These are usually 3x. And let me just awaken PoE trade it. 138, 39, 140-ish C for that this league. So again, a lot cheaper. And lastly, I have my Corrupted Blood Jewel down here, which is max life, Ellie res, and fire res. So you'll notice I'm also anointed Panopticon over here. I previously anointed Claws of the Pride, which would be fine, and you could still get this if you drop this and get a Thread of Hope. I can't remember which one, I think it might be large. If you get one of those Thread of Hopes, You can anoint Panopticon over here. I mean, you can take a Panopticon over here. You can take Swift Skurin over here. And you can take Testado over here with 1 Thread of Hope, which is pretty insane. But then you may struggle with resistances, especially with the like -20 or whatever, because I do have a lot of resistances on this, so just be prepared for that. And then if you do not have the Enlighten gem, this is how you can go about basically not needing one. So if I bring up my path of building, I already brought it up, I just got totally bamboozled by myself. It's really such a simple change. You just drop these 3 points. I currently have 120% to Impale, so current DPS, this is boss DPS with all the configs on, 2.88 million with micro mine. So if I take this off, I do go down to 2.7, but then we can just slot into Champion of the Cause over here, which will take us up to 2.75, and then it will give us unreserved mana 30, which is enough to use all skills and Cyclone. As long as you have the minus mana cost on your rings for the Cyclone, for the 1 mana, you won't feel much of a struggle, to be honest. So yeah, that is with the completely dropping Enlighten, not in the setup at all. And then you could even, if you wanted to go for that and you still find you were struggling with mana, even if you just got an Enlighten 2 or something like that, that'd put you up to 50 mana, and that'd be absolutely fine as well. But yeah, feel free to get an Enlighten so you can drop those nodes and then pick these back up for even more damage. And there are a bunch of changes you can probably make to this tree. Me and my friend did experiment quite a bit, and we found that sometimes we could hit like 1 million more DPS, but the cost for it would just be too much. So we're just rolling with this at the moment, and it does feel pretty nice. So I'm going to move on to my gem links finally, and there's just a few changes on there. So yeah, I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so as it comes to gems, pretty standard stuff over here. I did not have any Awakened gems yet, guys, so obviously that would also be a massive DPS increase if I had a bunch of Awakened gems, which I don't. So if you use Channeling, just normal, you're going to need some ints. Just get it as high as you can with whatever int you have. Brutality, standard stuff. Melee Fizz, standard stuff. 2120 you can get for 20C as well, so just feel free to pick one of those up. I'm using Divergent Fortify just for the Overwhelm, which is very nice, but again, you don't need it. You can just go for a normal one. Cyclone 2120, if you can get one of these, is great. It cost me about 1x. This is the only thing I wanted, 2120, to be honest, because Impale was still quite expensive. So I'm just rolling with a 2020 Impale. So nothing too fancy with my gems either. My gems are quite cheap. The only expensive thing would be in my aura setup, which is the Enlighten 4. But again, as I've showed you, it is not needed at all. So if you can get one, that's fine, fill your boots. But if not, don't need it, guys, don't worry. Precision 21 because I need accuracy personally, so I have leveled it up to 21, and I also have the Enlighten 4, so I'm not going to feel it too much. And then Herald of Purity and Flesh and Stone. So in our helmet, moving on from that, we do have 2 more auras, which is Blood and Sand. Well, it's not really an aura, it's a stance, but you know what I mean, reserves mana. Blood and Sand and Dread Banner, so exactly the same setup again with the auras. The only difference will be that we also use Aspect of the Cat in this, which I'll go over in a bit. And then cast when damage taken with Molten Shell over here. I don't even have Val Molten Shell, that's how much of a peg I am. But yeah, that works too, that's absolutely fine. And then moving on over here, I have Ancestral War Chief, multiple totems, and Phantasmal Ancestral Protector. So this is why we're anointing Panopticon. Phantasmal Ancestral Protector gives you 20% increased buff effect, so it gives a big DPS increase when you put them both down. So if I hover over this, so currently at 3.88 without any totems or anything, so if I was to spin 4.55, and then if I put these up now, and then let's just give it a spin, so we're currently at 7.7, and then depending on what changes up here, just sort of fluctuates a little bit, but still fine. So it practically doubles our DPS from our tooltip was, at least. So yeah, you can see Panopticon is still a massive buff when you have the totem set up. So yeah, pretty cool there. Finally, our boots. So this is where you're putting Aspect of the Cat, so you can fit in a Lestoration gem. So Lestoration, as you can see up here, these buffs will just keep swapping very quickly, which means you will never run out of Frenzy or Power Charges. So yeah, very nice there. And then over here, Enduring Cry, not linked to anything because I don't want to inflate the mana cost or anything. So 19 mana for that. And then I have Blood Rage over here and a Flame Dash. So these don't need to be linked to anything, and this will keep the mana cost low on them as well, so you won't have to worry about them too much. But yeah, that's just about it, guys. The build itself, it feels quite nice, and you may want to try it, you may not. Feel free to let me know if you come up with any improvements for it. If you are new, you know, we take these two Pantheons, so Arakali and Solo Shikari. And then for the bandits, I have killed all, but you can also take a Lyra. It's 50-50, whatever you feel is better. Obviously, Lyra gives you mana regen, Res, and crit multi as well. If I leveled up 2 times, I would spec out of the passive points and probably take a Lyra, to be honest with you. And also taking a Lyra would be a great way to get a comfortable thread of hope. So yeah, that's just about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll catch you next time, guys. Take care. Peace.